education is well worth anybody's while, but to sort of get that, physically in the form of a scholarship that not only pays for part of your college, but all of it, is sort of very rewarding, and it makes me want to strive so much harder to live up to that scholarship that was given to me.
It was fall of my sophomore year, and my parents told me that they could not afford to attend here. I had loans piling up, and my parents said, you can either just not be in school or you can come to Texas and go to a school back at home. And I just knew that I was deserving of being here. I had a 4.0 GPA, I was an eminent scholar, and I knew that God put me here for a reason. And so I started sharing my story and just advocating for why I deserve to be here. And scholarships started falling in my lap, and I became an RA. I became a university ambassador, and I made it known that I was supposed to be here, and everything ended up working out.
I think just the fact that someone else is paying for my schooling, I've always thought that school, if you're going to be at school, you shouldn't be wasting your time or money anyways, but the feeling is more heightened when someone else is paying for it, and you feel a responsibility to not let them down or not let their money go to waste, like you would feel if your parents are paying for it, but even more so for something that you don't know.
It lets me know that I can't stray away from those responsibilities, or I might potentially lose that scholarship. It also lets me know that I need to be a walking example for my peers, because if I show a great deal of work ethic, then that'll probably, lead them to follow me in the path that I'm on, which is the positive path.
I can focus more on schoolwork without, the financial burden or constantly thinking about, okay, what about next semester or the semester after that. I know that I'm able to be here and I'm able to stay here and focus on my schoolwork, and also indulge more in extracurricular activities. For example, like the University Ambassador Program. I'm able to do that because I can focus more on my schoolwork and be a part of more things. Also, do more extracurricular so I can set a good example for my siblings, because they mean the world to me. I
feel as an HBCU, African Americans should always be lifting African Americans up. And when I graduate and I'm an alumni here, I would be more than willing to give back, because I know the feeling that I got when I received my scholarship and was told that I had a full ride to this university is something I will remember for the rest of my life and can never be replicated. And I'm more than willing to give somebody else that experience in the future.
I just want to say thank you so much for what you did for me. Just from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate it so much.
Thank you. You've not only enabled me to have an easier time receiving my education, but also my parents as well.
Thank you 1,000 times, thank you. I know that I wouldn't be here without all those scholarships. And I know that I appreciate it, but other students appreciate it. And that, we wouldn't be here without those scholarships. And we know that we're gonna make you guys proud, and that we can make something of ourselves with that money. So, thank you.
Greetings to alumni and friends. I am Charlotte P. Morris, and I have the pleasure of serving as the 9th president of Tuskegee University. We are delighted to have you join us in this space for an update on happenings at Alma Mater. We sincerely hope that this will be the last one virtually, but we cannot predict what this virus will do from day to day. We especially welcome the reunion classes of the 7s and 2s, 1947, 1952, 1957, 1962, 1967, 1972, 1977, and 1982. We thank all of you for your support and your well wishes as we turn the pages of a new chapter in Tuskegee University's history. Today, we will do the state of the university a little different. I will complete this introductory statement, and I will have some members of my executive team to talk about the details, including our athletic director, Reginald Ruffin. Our team and university community suffered a great loss last weekend with the violent shooting death of one of our players off campus. This was a hard one for our students, but with the help of the Ministerial Alliance, faculty and staff, and counselors, we were able to meet the needs of most of our students. As we begin, I want to thank all of you for your contributions to Alma Mater and to assure you that Alma Mater is alive and well, and we are still in good financial shape. As you visit the campus when we are open fully, you will see a lot of work in progress: demolitions, renovations, new constructions, and everything else associated with it. Mr. Dexter Odom, our Vice President for Business Affairs and CFO, will elaborate on that further during our discussions. We continue to foster optimism, inspiration, and opportunity as we readjust our strategies around enrollment, finances, and student support, and revisit the economic model and assumptions that have undergirded our institution thus far. We also remained informed about the national issues and trends affecting post-secondary institutions that are cited by industry experts, such as funding, college affordability, changing student profiles and demographics, and online education as the driver of student growth, as well as recruitment of international students. These trends and many others provide the impetus for the informed, data-driven institutional decisions we must make daily to keep the university's bottom line and future viable and in check. Currently, our enrollment is just under 2,700 students. With new enrollment software and aggressive work on the part of enrollment management staff and retention team, we are optimistic that this will increase significantly in the future. Yes, the unexpected pause in our lives necessitated by the pandemic and the sober health warnings first cast by COVID-19 has forced us to make evolving revisions to our campus-wide health protocols. Fortunately, these health mandates have allowed the university to turn the pages of the pandemic as we progress toward a new definition of normalcy for our community, due to the early establishment of our COVID response team, chaired by Attorney Crystal James, who is also a public health professional. We're doing everything we can to ensure a safe teaching, learning, and professional environment for our campus community and beyond. We can't say enough about the willingness of our faculty and staff to adapt to new policies and procedures designed to improve the student experience, coupled with, of course, the unvarnished feedback from our students. Attorney James will share more on this. Our new provost, Dr. Keith Hargrove, has started off in full speed, and we are grateful for the contribution he has already made in advancing our academic enterprise. We are indeed embracing the legacy and transforming the future, as the title of our strategic plan indicates. Progress is being made there, and Dr. Hargrove will tell you more about that. One of the exciting things, however, happening in the academic area is the innovative collaborative arrangement we have established with the University of California in Berkeley, where our students will be able to study data science and other data technology support systems. Since we are not ready to declare a major in that area, it is a necessity that we expose our students to the coursework associated with the area. Beginning this summer, our students will be able to participate with 2 classes. We continue to meet with our congressional delegation in Washington, D.C. to assist us with these large, heavy-handed requests like the $18 million Aviation and Aerospace Science Program, the $45 million Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation, the $11 million project of upgrading health and technology infrastructure in the School of Nursing, and of course the $27 million Kellogg Hotel and Conference Center. While we understand that their appropriations, if granted, will not cover the total cost of any of these projects, it will put us further ahead in our planning to make them a reality in the future. With that, I am going to let my colleagues take it from here, and I will be back to participate in the question and answer session following their presentations. We will continue in this order: Attorney Crystal James, Dr. Keith Hardgrove, Mr. Dexter Odom, and Mr. Reginald Ruffin.
Hello, my name is Crystal James, and I have the pleasure of serving President Morris as her Special Assistant for COVID-19 recovery. The world's focus has shifted to the Ukraine invasion. However, the SARS-CoV-2 remains a pandemic that is causing significant death around the world, nationally, as well as here in the state of Alabama. We have taken an aggressive approach since the start of the pandemic to ensure that we decrease the opportunity for spread on our campus. We continue to mitigate as we follow developments of the most recent Omicron variant mutation into what is being called Deltacron or BA.2. This variant of concern is a recombinant strain that combines at least 10 mutations of the Delta and Omicron variants. We still maintain a masking policy on campus as well as decreased density for face-to-face interactions. We are also working diligently to address air quality in our classrooms and meeting spaces. We consistently monitor the percent positivity rate in the state to assist with forecasting and our own testing cadence. As of the date of this recording, the state of Alabama had a 2.6% positivity rate overall. Macon County has moved from low to substantial spread at the time of this recording due to a small increase in the percent positivity rate, which was 1.3% at that time. Another important indicator that is monitored on our campus is the number of COVID-19 hospitalizations within the state, which provides information regarding availability of healthcare resources should there be serious illness related to COVID-19 or for any other purpose for which students, faculty, and staff may need to access the healthcare system. As of March 25th, there were 129 COVID-19 hospitalizations, which demonstrates a continuing downward trend for this data point. This information, along with several others that have been identified as sentinel indicators for potential change in modalities in teaching as well as in personal activities, are reviewed weekly at the cabinet level to inform decision-making and for planning purposes. This slide displays the percent positivity rate by week that we have documented through our own reference laboratory, the Tuskegee Health Disparities Diagnostic Center. Weeks 1 through 4 reflect the onboarding process that is conducted at the beginning of each academic semester. We have seen a consistent decrease in our percent positivity rate since week 8 of the academic semester. This slide provides the actual number of samples tested by month with positive samples depicted in yellow. This slide looks at the positive cases identified by PCR testing monthly by employee or student status. As you can see, during our onboarding process, we were able to identify and isolate 289 positive cases from the face-to-face environment, with 158 of them being among faculty and or staff members. This early detection is one strategy that is believed to have assisted in keeping our percent positivity low on campus thus far. This final data point displays the total number of tests that have been analyzed since the Tuskegee Health Disparities Diagnostic Center gained CLIA certification in February 2021, which was renewed without any citation at the annual review held in February 2022. In line with President Morris's strategic vision of One Tuskegee, We provide PCR testing for the university and the Macon County community at large, with community testing events happening each month. Thermo Fisher's Just Project donation provides the state-of-the-art equipment for our laboratory with additional support from the Gates Foundation to cover costs of the laboratory professionals to manage the laboratory. The lab is located in the Carver Research Building, which looked like the pictures provided in this slide prior to the allocation of COVID-19 resources received from federal grants. As you can see, researchers and graduate students had limited space and dated workspaces in order to conduct the research that keeps Tuskegee competitive for additional grant resources. To achieve CLIA certification and provide the appropriate hood and ventilations required to handle viral samples, we renovated approximately 5,000 square feet of research space with an additional 3,850 square feet of ongoing renovations to return the Carver Research Building to a space of pride and innovation. Once complete, the Carver Research Building will have 4 state-of-the-art research laboratories as well as a dedicated COVID-19 lab. The building will also have renovated office spaces to accommodate the highly skilled faculty and the doctoral level students they are tasked to train. With the completion of the Carver Research Building in sight, we are envisioning the development of the Tuskegee University Biomedical Building to open up the opportunity for more transdisciplinary research teams. Dr. Clayton Yates is working hard to secure the $4 million in grant funds to fund the first stage of this new building, which led to these proposed renderings of what would be added as a complement to the renovations already underway. This new building will incorporate 2 open laboratories to facilitate the cross-fertilization of ideas and more collaborative research endeavors. Not to mention first-class facilities to attract the top faculty and student talent as we move to accomplish the bold goals of the President's strategic plan. This slide depicts an open lab environment that promotes collaborative learning and team building. The Center for Rural Health and Economic Equity, which is co-directed by Dr. Clayton Yates and myself, continues to seek strategic partnerships to assist with better understanding health disparities as we strive for health equity in rural spaces in Alabama, the United States, and around the globe. Our most recent partnership with the City of Tuskegee assisted in securing a health literacy grant from the Department of Health and Human Services, which will cover the cost to bring 24/7 access to health care to the campus, Macon County, and other Black Belt counties in Alabama. This system will use live nurse intake, which includes height, weight, temperature screens, and collection of other preliminary data during the intake process before linking them to a live video examination with a nurse or physician who is engaged with the unmet system. The unit is ADA compliant, self-cleaning, and can also dispense common formulary pharmaceuticals with the integration of pharmacy consultation. This unit will be Tuskegee University branded and deliver culturally sensitive health messages prepared by our public health professionals on our campus. The students and faculty in the School of Nursing and Allied Health will be trained to conduct the triage and intake functions, which will give them marketable skills for the workplace. Thank you.
Hello, I am Dr. S. Keith Hargrove, Provost and Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs. To President Morris, the Cabinet, our academic deans, and other unit leaders, to the faculty, staff, and students, I bring you greetings on behalf of the Office of Academic Affairs. I would like to share the 3 priorities of the Office of Academic Affairs: our progress regarding the 2021-2026 strategic plan, and some highlights of our academic programs and faculty at Tuskegee University. The Office of Academic Affairs is responsible for providing innovative academic programs that are delivered by our outstanding and dedicated faculty. Working with the academic deans, that includes hiring, retaining, and providing faculty development to enhance learning in the classroom, laboratory, and elsewhere. The Office of Academic Affairs is also facilitating the implementation and deployment of the 2021-2026 strategic plan, entitled Embracing the Legacy, Transforming the Future. With the outstanding work completed by the Strategic Planning Committee and led by Drs. Kelly Samuels and Clayton Yates, we now have a roadmap to guide the university for the next 5 years with 8 goals and key performance indicators. We believe the successful implementation of this plan will increase our enrollment, improve retention, infrastructure, and services, resulting in improving our national ranking. Strategic planning is basically a process that has 5 phases. The first and second phase sets a direction and goals for the university. Tuskegee University has completed these phases and will now initiate the third phase of creating strategies for implementation and deployment. The fourth phase involves the deployment of the strategies, and the fifth and reoccurring phase is focused on monitoring, evaluation, and assessment. The President's Cabinet, administration, and academic deans has convened over the last 3 months to discuss the plan. Our meeting in February reviewed the details of the plan and the team structure for implementation. In our March workshop, we discussed the alignment of the strategic plan with every unit of the university and created 4 task forces to create and develop strategies and execute the deployment of that plan. This is recognized as phase 2. We now have a task force for learning initiatives, processes and services, student experience, and community engagement and partnerships. For the remainder of the year, a schedule has been validated for monthly meetings to carry out phase 3, 4, and 5 of this planning process. Details of the plan can be accessed and read on the university's website, and a strategic plan scoreboard will also be provided early this summer. I would also like to provide a few highlights from our faculty and the academic programs. Dr. Kazi was recently selected and recognized with the Presidential Award for Excellence in Science, Math, Engineering, and Mentoring, and will visit the White House. And the students of the Robert Taylor School of Architecture and Construction Science recently won first place in a national competition for the National Association for Home Builders, becoming the first HBCU to ever win this national competitive award. Big congratulations to this student chapter. You represent Tuskegee well. We are also making strides with our online and distance education initiative at the university with the goal of creating 5 online academic programs by the end of the year. And lastly, we want to commend several of our faculty in obtaining patents, including Dr. Quinn for obtaining a patent for a medical device for surgery. And we want to commend Dr. Clayton Yates for his continuing and truly transformational research in the health sciences arena, with the nearly $14 million National Institute of Health Award for research in biomedical sciences, with the collaboration with the University of Alabama at Birmingham. This major award contributes to the nearly $40 million in research acquired by the university so far this year, with a few months still left to go. This only presents a snapshot of the current activities and successes on the academic side of the university. Yes, we still have challenges, but we will continue to work hard to improve retention, improve learning in the midst of virtual instruction, making the transition back to face-to-face learning, and continue our stellar research in areas such as advanced materials, cybersecurity, agriculture, and biomedical sciences. On behalf of the faculty, thanks for your support, and look for more to come as we implement our strategic plan as one Tuskegee. And now I'd like to bring on our Vice President for Business Affairs, Mr. Dexter Odom.
Greetings. My name is Dexter Odom, and it's my privilege to serve Tuskegee University as the Vice President for Business Affairs and Chief Financial Officer. To the Board of Trustees, President Charlotte Morris, alumni, faculty, and staff, and other stakeholders, it is my pleasure to present you the State of the University Fiscal Affairs. I will start with reflecting back to the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic. During the start of the pandemic in March of 2020, as with most businesses, Tuskegee University was not immune to the impact of COVID-19, which presented a serious health pandemic globally. The pandemic impacted ongoing operations and resulted in Tuskegee University having to adjust rapidly by altering its teaching modality, limiting the number of students that were allowed to stay in on-campus housing, virtually eliminating sports and other activities that traditionally generated large crowds, providing supplemental funds to students during the pandemic, and, to date, eliminating increases in tuition and fees during the pandemic. How has the university fared since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic? Throughout the 2020 and through the current time period, aggressive operational adjustments were required, such as allowing flexibility in how and where employees worked, providing students with increased funds without raising tuition and fees, improving upon other sources of revenues through fundraising, generous gifts from caring donors, special funding sources from governmental agencies via grants and contracts, and benefiting from having significant HBCU capital long-term debt forgiven via the CARES Act. Next, I will present highlights of summary financial data covering FY 2019 through FY 2020-21 for the Statement of Financial Position. During these 3 years, total assets increased by 18.71%. Total liabilities decreased by 83.21%. Total net assets increased by 75.68%. As one may observe, all of these cumulative changes are extremely positive. Total assets improved via generous contributions and a stellar year of investment returns. Total liabilities decreased substantially as a result of the forgiveness of $115 million in long-term debt that was administered by the HBCU Capital Financing Program. And total net assets increased substantially as a result of the combination of the above points, COVID-19 HERF funding received, and other operating activities. This next slide shows the level of long-term debt from FY 2019 through FY 2021, which represents a 99.89% decrease overall. This event alone will afford Tuskegee University the opportunity to invest into existing and new student housing and other facilities. Next, I will present the highlights of the Statement of Activities and Changes in Net Assets covering FY 2019 through FY 2021. Net tuition and fees decreased as a result of fewer students enrolled during the pandemic and by more discounts being offered to those students. Governmental grants and contracts increased as a result of more grants being secured and other federal and state funding received in the form of COVID-19/HERF funding. Other revenues increased primarily as a result of generous contributions. Net non-operating revenues and expenses increased primarily as a result of a stellar year of investment returns and the forgiveness of $115 million in long-term debt that was administered by the HBCU Capital Financing Program. During these 3 years, combined revenues decreased in FY 2020. However, during FY 2021, Tuskegee University experienced a significant increase in combined revenues. Operating expenses increased in FY 2020 and remained flat during FY 2021. Changes in net assets decreased substantially during FY 2020. However, during FY 2021, an extraordinary $200 million in increases occurred, primarily as a result of long-term debt forgiveness, generous contributions, and a stellar year of investment returns. In brief, Tuskegee University is weathering the COVID-19 pandemic. Tuskegee University was also positioned to provide significant supplemental funding to students well in excess of the traditional financial aid awarded during these perilous times. Concurrently, Tuskegee University has purposely elected not to increase tuition and fees, room and board for students, as we realize that the pandemic also presented an economic challenge to our students and parents. In light of this, Tuskegee University currently has no plans to raise the cost of attending the university for FY23. Additionally, Tuskegee University has been upgrading the mechanical infrastructure of many buildings, renovating housing facilities for students for the start of fall 2022, nearing the final stages of planning for 1 to 2 living learning centers for students that are slated for occupancy during FY 2024, and improving and or replacing other facilities throughout the campus. In conclusion, Tuskegee University is weathering the pandemic storm and continues to have a viable financial future. It is now my pleasure to introduce Reginald Ruffin, Tuskegee University Athletic Director.
Hello everyone, my name is Reginald Ruffin. I'm the Director of Athletics and head football coach here at Tuskegee University. Tuskegee University Athletic, we are so excited. Why? Because it's the standard. Our motto is we educate, we dominate, and we graduate. I'm so excited that our student athletes continue to dominate in the classroom, on the courts, and the playing field. As the state of our athletic program, we're excited that our men and women basketball team has started it off by finishing second and first in the Western Division, and also making it to the quarterfinal and semifinal in the SIC basketball tournament. As our softball team and baseball team continue to be first and second in the SIC conference standing, with 1 month remaining, our men and women track and field, men and women tennis, are currently in the top half of our conference standing. As we continue with our strategic plan, with improvement to our athletic facility, our strength and conditioning program, our gender equity, and improvement to our scholarship ratio to males to females, and also improving the non-revenue sports and increasing scholarship. I ask that you continue supporting Tuskegee University Athletics, because we are one. We are one love, we are one family, we are one heartbeat, and we are one Tuskegee. And that's what we are all in. I ask you to continue to support our athletic program and our students here at Tuskegee University. Thank you.
Greetings again. We are back. Thank you so much for participating or listening to the State of the University. We are hopeful that we said something that will help you understand what's going on campus and how we plan to achieve our goals of the strategic plan for 2020-2026. So we will now have questions and answers. Some of you have already put your questions in the chat box, so we will answer them as we get them. Those that we are unable to answer today, we will get the answers for you. We do not have all of the answers, but I do have my team here at the table with me. I have the Vice President for Student Affairs, Mrs. Taylor. I have the Provost and Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs, Dr. Hargrove. To my right, I have Mr. Dexter Odom, the CFO, and from there I have the Vice President for Enrollment Management and Student Success, Mr. Joseph Montgomery, our legal counsel and COVID coordinator, Attorney Crystal James, then the Chief of HR, Cassandra Tarver-Ross, and the CIO, Bernice Green. So between all of us, I'm sure we will be able to answer some of your questions, or at least most of your questions. The first question is, how much money are the Board of Trustees raising each year? Good question. I don't have the specific answer for that. Philip Howard, are you on, and can you give us a ballpark number there? We'll bring that question back up before we end today. Question number 2, when is the university going to start fundraising for a new football stadium and facilities for football games to include RV park on the university property for tailgating, tourism, etc.? We have a part answer for you there, and I'll give that question to Mr. Odom.
Thank you, Dr. Morris, and good afternoon, everyone. For the football stadium, I cannot exactly speak to the fundraising part, but I can speak to what we are currently in the process of doing. You will begin to see construction work around the football stadium as it relates to some of the engineering work that has to be done, some of the field work that has to be done for turf to be laid on the field, and you will see work beginning on a new field house, some 14, maybe 15,000 square feet worth. So we have many things going on for the football field area. As for RV parking, that piece is still being discussed and is being we're trying to work that part out. But what we do need help with, and if you want to truly participate in this process, the football program is in need of a high-tech video scoreboard, which costs somewhere in the range of about $500,000. So if you want to really help, we don't have that yet, but we certainly will look forward to any contributions toward that, and that would be very much appreciated.
Thank you, Mr. Odom, for that. If there's a follow-up question, you may put it in the chat. Next question. Will a new veterinary school be included in the next capital campaign? We do plan a capital campaign for a year after next. We are going to do our goals and objectives for that within the next year. I don't know what's going to be included in that plan yet for capital funding, but we have asked each department to make a list, a wish list, not that it's all going to be in the capital campaign. We're talking about a $200 million campaign, and we know that our needs are much greater than that. So we will work with our departments and chairs and work out a plan, and we will inform you when that plan has been completed, because our goals will be publicized. Next question. Will the 1890 Society, started by Dr. McNair, continue? I see no reason why it is not or cannot. Any society that raises funds for the institution is welcome. So we will look forward to the chairs of the 1881 Society to come forward and tell us what the requirements are for that so that we can publicize it again. Next questions. Greetings. Have we seriously considered contracting with large housing developers to build on-campus TU student housing? Could there be a contract agreement signed with private developers to build on-campus housing and roll off-campus apartments to satisfy the housing needs of students and perhaps faculty? Well, as you heard Mr. Odom indicate, we do have a large student housing facility building in progress. You will see, as I indicated in the beginning of my State of the University message, we have demolitions going on, we have construction, we have new construction, we have renovation, and a whole lot of other things associated with that will be going on the campus in the next few months or so. So when we open up fully, you may come and view all of those and know what we're doing and how we're doing them and move forward from there. But we have considered that. We're going to do the best in terms of financing for the university in that regard. Do you have anything to add to that, Mr. Odom?
No, I think you were very precise in your response.
Okay. Next question, will members of the community outside of the university be a part of the new strategic plan? The answer to that is yes, they have been from the start, and they will be as we continue, and I will let Dr. Hargrove further elaborate on that.
Thank you, Dr. Morris. Good afternoon, alumni and friends. We are aggressively moving forward with a strategic plan. Of the 8 priorities or goals of that strategic plan, one of them is clearly defined as community partnerships that include relationships with the local community, but also industry as well. We meet weekly, I think every Saturday, for a conversation with Tuskegee and community leaders and the university, and we discuss some of the challenges and opportunities to work jointly and together in addressing some of those things. So again, the community partnerships is one of the 8 items of the strategic plan, and we look forward to implementing and coming up with strategies that continue to enhance the relationship between town and gown.
Okay, thank you. Are there other questions?
Yes, Dr. Moore, we'll take a few more questions from the chat. Speaking of town and gown, there's a question from Melvin Todd. Is the university involved in helping the Tuskegee community improve economically?
We are definitely involved in that. In fact, we have coordinated with the community on at least 2 projects where we did joint proposals to the federal government for funding for community development, and those were, the persons included were community individuals and university faculty and staff. Crystal James will talk a little bit about one of those projects, which she indicated in the part of the State of the University that she did earlier. Crystal.
Thank you, Dr. Morris, and good afternoon, everyone. The project that we have collaborated with the City of Tuskegee for $4 million over a 3-year grant period will be the resource for the unmet system that was discussed earlier in the State of the University address. We have partnered with them to apply for that grant as well and continue to work with them to seek other funding to not only support the university in Macon County, but other Black Belt counties in the region to improve health equity as well as economic equity in the community.
The next question we have, will Tuskegee receive funding from the Biden infrastructure bill?
No. So part of the bill has been slated for colleges and universities, but to this day we do not have precise amounts, but we are hopeful that they will materialize.
On the academic front, we have a question regarding patent portfolio. Will the patent portfolio be shared publicly? What are the plans to increase patent applications for the university?
Over the last 2 to 3 years, the faculty have done an excellent job producing patents. In fact, Dr. Quinn recently obtained a patent for the medical device to conduct surgery. And faculty in the College of Engineering, I believe within the last 2 to 3 years, have produced as many as 6 to 8 patents in different disciplines. The next task is, how does the university commercialize those patents? And we're looking at strategies to do that. And most importantly, that is one of the components of the strategic plan. And we're looking forward to working with faculty, industry, as well as other entities, such that those patents could actually generate revenue for the university.
We have a question from Elaine Harrington regarding the Kellogg Hotel and Conference Center. She wants to know, what is the future status of the hotel?
Okay. The Kellogg Hotel and Conference Center is not on our immediate priority list. It is on our priority list, but immediately we are trying to get, as I always indicate, our students from Auburn. So we are renovating dorms on the campus and actually have plans to construct a new dorm on the campus in the area where Huntington Hall used to be. So we are working with now housing, student housing more so than anything else. We are doing those academic area emergencies that need to be done, but our priority right now is the housing for students who want to live on the campus. Now, that does not mean that we are not working on the Kellogg Conference Center. We've started a capital campaign for the Kellogg Conference Center, and if any of you are interested in naming opportunities for that, we do offer that as an alternative for some of your fundraising goals that you have for yourself.
The next question is about medical facilities. Is there a collaboration in the works for a medical center on campus that can be used to train various medical disciplines and act as a local medical center instead of having to go to Auburn or Montgomery?
That is not a part of our immediate goals. We do have increased medical expertise on our campus in student health, but we do not have immediate plans to do any construction for a medical facility. As most of you know who graduated before 1987, when we closed the hospital on the campus, it was closed because of the debt associated with it. Because when you operate a hospital, you can't turn anyone down. You have to serve the campus community as well as the overall county individuals as well. So we are hopeful not to get into the hospital business going forward anytime soon, but we will enhance our strategies for improving health for our students and improving the availability of health. Attorney James mentioned in her presentation this, actually, One Health, is it? UnMed. I'll let her talk a little about that.
is that we will. One of the unique things about the unmet system is that it does have an opportunity for our students to learn telemedicine and actually be a part of the triaging of that system. As we develop it and get it branded for Tuskegee University, we will provide more updates as to how it will serve the community, but also help to build the knowledge base for our nursing students as well.
For a few more questions, and I see some regarding facilities. Zetti Perry asked, can you please provide an update on the athletics facilities master plan?
So I think we provided that a tad earlier. I'll just recap. We are doing things to improve the athletic facilities, from building a new field house to putting turf on the football field and doing engineering work to eliminate some of the water issues we're having. However, there's an opportunity again for you to help, because the football facility needs a video scoreboard. So any assistance with that will be more than appreciated. The cost is approximately $500,000, and I welcome any contributions.
One final question. What dorms have been renovated and will be ready for fall 22?
The dorms that are currently under renovation includes Commons E and G and Sage Hall. Those are undertaking extensive renovations, so they will be up and ready by the fall. Going over and beyond that, as Dr. Mars indicated, and I indicated as well, we are planning a brand new facility as well that will accommodate many more students, and they will be the suite style dormitories.
Would you like to take a few more?
Oh, okay. Thank you all for your attention to us this afternoon. We appreciate all that you do for Alma Mater. We want you to know that we are here to serve you as alumni and to serve our students. So we want to take every opportunity to thank you, because there's nothing more inviting than words of thank you for individuals who contribute to Alma Mater and the pet projects that they want to contribute here at the university. So with that, we will close out this session of our, I wanted to say homecoming, but not homecoming yet, but of our Founders Day weekend, this phase of our Founders Day weekend activities. We invite you to the one this evening, which will be virtual, but most of all, we invite you to Sunday's convocation in the chapel, where we have invited you to register. We have a certain limit of people that we will allow in there for that convocation, but it will be face-to-face. Thank you so much for all you do for Alma Mater.